This video is about the relative age effect. Kevin Till from the Sports Coach UK says relative age effect is defined as the immediate and long-term consequences that affect participation and selection in youth sport. Following on from this, J. Muss and R. Hay say that the relative age effect in soccer cross-cultural evidence for systematic discrimination against children born late in a competition year. Below is two pictures of the relative age effect in action. As you can clearly see, one of the players clearly has a numerical advantage over their friends/teammates. Does this give them more of a chance to become an elite professional? How is the relative age effect measured? The relative age effect is measured through quartiles. Quartiles are divided into 4 sections throughout the academic year. The first quartile will be September to November. This would make them the oldest, following on to quartile 2, December to February, and quartile 3, March to May, and finally quartile 4, June to August. This would make them the youngest within the academic year. Below is a visualised picture which indicates the differences you can have if you was within the oldest quartile compared to the youngest. You could have a massive advantage in different areas including height, weight and maturity levels. Does having an advantage over your own age group in those specific areas give you more of an opportunity to become an elite sportsman? A study was conducted about the amount of distribution of athletes per quartile for all European leagues by Jorgen Scholler et al. The table suggests that within the distribution of athletes in the European leagues, that roughly 30% of players are from quartile 1. In relation to my previous slides, this could be through different factors, again through height and physical advantage over their opponents. Following on from this, quartile 2 is not far behind with roughly 25%. This is 5% below quartile 1, and there will not be a lot of difference between these two sets of quartiles due to them being very similar in age with only a few months difference. Quartile 3 is roughly 20% and quartile 4 around 15%. Throughout this study, you can clearly see that the relative age effect is happening as the 4 quartiles go down in size order, with quartile 1 producing the most players and quartile 4 producing the least amount of players. Are players benefiting from the relative age effect? Ross Barkley, currently playing for Everton, had an advantage over his opponents and teammates through the relative age effect. As clearly seen in the picture, he was taller, heavier, stronger and more advanced in most areas. This gave him more opportunities to become an elite professional because he would clearly stand out to scouts. He has been at Everton since the age of 11 and was playing for the under-18s at 15 years of age. One problem which could arise when making a step up into the first team at any elite club is that you'll meet people who have taken advantage of the relative age effect also. This is when other athletes are going to be the same size, same strength or have better attributes. So in hindsight, players do benefit from the relative age effect, but only to a certain extent. According to Davis and Baker et al., athletes born in the earlier months of the year are more than likely to experience early maturation, which is associated with improved speed, strength and muscular endurance in comparison to their younger counterparts. Carrying on from this, Cobley et al. Says, greater physical attributes may lead to more mature players to being selected for national teams and being picked to play more frequently in matches. This relates back to my Ross Barkley story, as Ross represented England at an under-16 level 7 times and scored twice, before moving up to the under-17 age group earlier than expected in the 2009/10 season. Are we giving players equal opportunities? The one thing that Premier League clubs are starting to do now is something called the bio-banding tournaments. This is when players aged 12 to 15 from each club were banded according to the Camis-Roach method. This calculates their level of maturation based on a child's height, weight and the height of both parents. Players were banded either within the 85 to 90% of predicted adult height range or the 90 to 95%. This gives players a fair and equal chance and allowing players to develop their skills and is not just based on their strength, height and weight.
A spokesman from the Premier League said, "We have seen clubs where a goalkeeper is at 98% of his final maturation, a central midfielder at 95%, but a full-back is at 82%. Bunt said there is a 16% difference in maturation, and yet they have to play against each other. This is obviously not fair at a young age, and this needs to change, and this is what the Premier League clubs are doing to help these athletes."